Brought to you by Copal, the world's biggest delivery-linked art fund.
Our set of panelists, we have with us Mr. Alok Nanavati, a very well-known market analyst, a well-established face in the market, also the director of Centrum. We also have with us in the studio Mr. Ranjiv Saluja. Thank you very much, sir, for coming. He's the owner of Pulse Technologies, which is a well-known IT company, and he's just started in
art.
Right. Ranjiv, it was when you made your comment earlier saying that you got into art in 2008, but you've also learned how to appreciate the aesthetics of art, which one really doesn't get to hear from a first-time investor. One gets to hear that from a collector who's been doing that, who's been buying art for many years. So what really gave this confidence? I mean, how did you get into buying art in the first place?
Well, getting into buying art was thanks to a lot of investment advisors who keep coming to me and want to make me part with my money and invest in something or the other. And then I read somewhere that you need to have a flavor of probably art and commodities and so on and so forth in your asset allocation. Looking around, I found that there were some art funds available, which were not very appealing, that you invest in something and then you go blank. You don't know what's happening inside the fund. And then somebody said that there is this opportunity where Copal, you invest, you get a piece of art which you can hang on your wall in your office or home, and then at an appropriate time when you feel like selling it, you actually owning that piece of art, which appealed to me. And I started small. And the Copal model was also quite different from the others, that you invested at a particular price in terms of per square foot, if you like. So it's like buying into real estate. And an artist, let's say Badri Narayan or Raza or somebody, at a fixed price. And then from his art bank, you choose what you want. And you paid for it over a period of time. And then now you have these collections, and maybe when you want to sell, you can sell it away. The visits to his art bank is what really got me and my wife interested into looking at art from a different eye. That's how the aesthetics portion comes.
Hello and welcome. Good to have your company on another edition of ArtWise. And today, of course, the focus is going to be on investing through art funds. How can you go about selecting art funds? Is that perhaps the right way to go about investing in art? And what's the future of art funds in the Indian market as well? So, comprehensive discussion over the next 30 minutes on this special episode. Hi, sir.
Hi, Rahul. And for this special episode, we have a great set of panelists. We have Mr. Ajay Seth with us, who's the chief mentor of Copal Art. There's also Mr. Sudeep Bandyopadhyay, who is, of course, a very well-known face in the markets, also the MD of Convexity Solutions, and the MD of Kalpataru Constructions, Mr. Imtiaz Kanga. But Mr. Kanga, I'd like to bring you in at this point because I know you started your investment in art through Copal Art. What was so convincing about the Copal Art Fund structure that you chose Copal over other art funds? Because, I mean, we know how the other art funds really performed in 2008 and 2009. They virtually collapsed.
Actually, the best thing about the Copal is that we actually get the paintings. We don't have just a piece of paper that says you own a part of a painting or a unit in a painting or a unit in the fund. The idea is that you appreciate the painting. You have to like what you buy, and then you buy it with the idea that it will go up and the investment will.
Let the investor buy the art. I mean, you can call it fund, you can call it anything. I think Copal is doing that, and that's what I hear from people. That if you are an investor, if you want to invest in art, you invest with Copal. Actually, you're not investing with Copal. You're buying the painting of a particular painter which you like, and you're taking the artwork home. Tomorrow you want to exit, go and sell. You have your painting, you enjoy it while it's with you, and when you want your money back, or there is some crisis, there's some liquidity requirement, you go.
And our panelists for today, we have Mr. Ashok Vajpayee, who is the chairperson of the Lalit Kala Academy. He's going to be with us from New Delhi. And right here in the studio, we have with us Mr. Ashit Desai, who is the director of HR for All Cargo. He's also just started investing in art very recently, just a few years ago. And there's also Mr. Prakash Gaba, well-known face in the market world. He needs no introduction here. But before we go ahead in this discussion, let's give you an idea on who. All right, Mr. Vajpayee, I'm going to bring in Mr. Desai in at this point because he's just recently started investing in art. He started in the year 2008 when the market was so badly hit. Mr. Desai, what has your experience been so far? I mean, you started a collection by getting guidance from Copal Art, but how did you go ahead and really believing what Copal was suggesting at that point of time?
I think firstly I was not making a very sizable investment. It was going to be 5% or less of my overall investment portfolio. So I was not taking a very big risk in whatever I was doing. Secondly, I have always been interested in art for years and years, except that it was never an investment option. Art for me was going to the museums, going to the exhibitions and having a look at it. I had been hearing a lot about art funds, etc. And here came a concept where I could invest into a portfolio of paintings, but also get the art at home to enjoy. And so that is what really appealed to me in making this particular decision.
So before we go ahead, let me introduce you to our set of panelists for this episode. We have with us Mr. Ajay Seth, who is the Chief Mentor for Copal Art. And there's also Mr. Ambrish Baliga with us, who is the Vice President of Garvey Stockbroking. Ajay, you come across investors, fresh investors, talking about the subject. How do you deal with them?
We get this query, as and when a new investor comes in. So the first is we straight away, forewarn them that you have to, if you're investing purely as an investment, so you better stay out, right? You have to actually become a collector, and you will really see a good gain on that. I would say that 50% of our investors who came in as investors with Copal, they are not wanting to sell paintings today. Even if we are going back to them or they're getting offers from the market that you get 3 times or 4 times the value, because now they virtually become collectors. Right. So looking at the liquidity, I would say as to what artist you are buying, what paintings are you buying. My suggestion to everybody is wait for the price. If you are coming as an investor, wait for the price to come. Don't set a bargain of 2 years or 3 years. You buy and you fix a price that I'll get out at this price. Unless until you get it, stay back. So come as a passionate collector. Then you see the value. There's definitely wealth in
of art. Ambrish, this issue of research that we were talking about just a while back in the break as well, how important is that from an investor's perspective? Because one of the things that a lot of people are scared about when they enter the art market is duplication or fakes as well. So how authentic is the research out there, and how deep does it have to be before you take your first step into it?
See, research is important, whether it's art or equity, it is important. And I mean, what I've seen from Copal, the amount of research which they do, the amount of information which they actually provide to an investor or an art collector is tremendous. And I mean, I see a lot of similarity between the way we do research for equity and the way, I mean, they do research about an artist. End of the day, when you're doing equity research, you look at the sector, you look at the management. Here you track the artist, what sort of work he has done in the past, what is the future for his sort of art, I mean, how has the trend moved, and the pricing. And the way they have actually put that down and they keep informing the investors, I think that is very important.
Spectrum, today's new investor. Disaster management consultant Jude Hendricks began his twist with art 2 years ago with Copal Art. Not merely as a collector, but as an investor collector. Hendricks belongs to the new breed of patrons who look at art not merely for its aesthetic appeal, but also for its long-term value proposition.
I will not look at it as an either or. I will look at it as and. Both aesthetics as well as investment. It is looking at something which you say this is good investment, good aesthetics, something to be possessed, and something you're looking at a long-term horizon, not for the immediate.